What is going on, young men between 18 and 29? I am the over 50 guy. I wanted to do a video today talking to you guys about I don't want you chasing women and chasing sex. I don't want you being distracted with that. I would much rather you build yourself at this age now so that, as we've discussed previously, you can have the type of options that are not afforded to men who don't do that. One of those options that I want to talk about specifically is women in relationships. I came up very sheltered and very limited in my knowledge of relationships. I always did good with women. I'm, reasonably decent looking. Back when I was your age, I had an awesome physique. I lived in a gym. So, I didn't do bad with women, but there was so very much that I just did not know. My dad worked a lot. He had to support a family. So there wasn't a whole lot of, chummy buddy time where, he possibly could have shared a lot of these gems that I'm going to share with you today. Although he would tell me stuff, kind of here and there that would be so very confusing to me because, I was basically brought up, by my mother and sisters, right? Dad would say stuff like, the better you treat a woman, the worse she'll treat you. Pop would say, at the height of my bodybuilding career, I was at the kitchen counter making a sandwich and my dad would come up beside me and I noticed that he's just kind of looking at me and I'm like, what's the matter, Pop? And he would say, yeah, I'm just looking at you with your big muscles. And yeah, I would just buy you out. And I'm like, buy me out? What are you talking about? He said, yeah, I'll wait till you leave the young lady's house and I'll come behind you with a sack of groceries and $100 and she will never call you again. And in my ignorance, I'm like, $100, like groceries, And what Dad was saying, I didn't understand at the time. It would take me another 20 years before I would come across a guy on YouTube whose name was Rollo Tomasi. You guys may be familiar with Kevin Samuels, but this guy was Kevin Samuels before Kevin Samuels. And being raised by your mother to be kind to women, pull out the door, open the door, pull out the chair. These concepts is what I came up with. So when I start listening to a guy who is saying some things that I'm like, what the? Rollo would talk about early on. He would talk about how women are born with value to men. I'm saying this specifically to men, women, so you don't flood my comment section talking about I'm saying y'all ain't valuable. Because I'm not saying that. I'm saying in the context of men and relationships. Tomasi would say that they're born with value. They're born with value because of that thing between their legs that all men, once they come of age, is chasing for. Have been fought over that. It's not because you're just soft and dainty. It is because of that box. There's a value that a woman has with that as it pertains to men. And how men don't have that value. Men have to build their value, right? And that's what my dad was talking about, the $100, that if you have means, forget about nice. I'm polite, and I used to think that was really what it was about. And I'm not saying that women don't like nice men. My niceness and politeness and all of that, I didn't do bad, back when I was younger. But what was shocking to me is how the guys that weren't nice, but they had means, they had money, they had cars, they had all of these things. These are where the women were flocking to. The guys that just really treated them bad. The guys that had all kinds of different women. These women were still chasing after these men. And it would take Rollo Tomasi to kind of lay that out and make sense of that. He would say things like 90% of women, and this is hypothetical, let's just say most women, are all after the same type of man. Extremely good looking, extremely wealthy, well known. Everybody knows him, the man, right? All women are after that type of man. So what that does is that type of man has options. He's just not dealing with one woman. He's dealing with multiple women because most of the women are after that type, right? And the common denominator, and we can say it's a lot of things, height, again, popularity. The main thing in that, young man, is money. It's money. How do you think it is that you see men, older men, even older than me, and I'm 50 something, and they have just these drop dead gorgeous women with them? It's because the value is their money. Rollo would talk about how chasing a woman. Like one thing Rollo said that resonated with me, because I was this guy. I was that guy that I was going to pursue. I was going to pursue that. If I wanted that woman, I was going to call. I was going to send the flowers. I was that guy. They call that simping today, but I was that guy. And Rollo would say that you don't want to chase women because women want men that other women want. That was huge for me. Women want men that other women want. So if you are constantly chasing after one, then that woman knows that you don't have any other options. And that makes you unattractive to her. Putting yourself out there and just chasing and pandering to women makes you unattractive because it makes you look like you don't have other options. And women want men that other women want. That's why I tell you guys, get in the gym. Get in the gym. It's not going to be your winning personality. It is not going to be that, you're just nice and you're kind and you're sweet. And, that's what it may be at my age. But at your age, you want to be attractive. You want to be attractive to other women. And that's what makes you attractive to a woman, when other women want you to. And again, these are the things, guys, that I just did not know. I had no idea about these things when I was coming up. Tomasi would talk about how women are not all, most are hypergamous. Look that word up. And essentially what that means is the woman is always looking for a better deal, a better option than you. And, there's some science to that. Like even in the animal kingdom, that's the reason that the female mates with the strongest alpha male, because it ensures that, the species will stay healthy. And on some level, they say that this hypergamous nature that women have kind of ensures the same thing, that they ultimately want the best pick of the male. So I'm not really even hating or shitting on them for that, but you need to know that. You need to know that nice as you are and as kind as you are, if there's a better option for your woman out there, she's taking it. Now that's different from us. We want, we'll get the woman on fries in McDonald's and be happy, glad. We just together and we in love and that ain't women. And I've experienced that. I know that for a fact. So that's a thing that you have to deal with. Or that's a thing that you should know about with the young lady that you're dealing with. Tomasi would talk about men that become orbiters to women. What's an orbiter? That's like something like how the planets orbit the sun. They just go around and round. He talks about how because men value box so much that in hopes of getting it from a woman, the woman will clearly tell them that let's just be friends, not really interested in a relationship. And rather than that man having other options that he can go to and get what he wants, he'll stay in this woman's orbit with the hope that one day, she'll give him some. So that's the guys that in the women's phone as food, rent, bills, car note. These are the orbiters. These are the men that can be pulled down at any time and used and then put back in orbit. I've been an orbiter a time or two, in my life. And the difference is, or that he was trying to say, is that you don't have to be the orbiter. If you build yourself right and you're the right type of man, or you're in that small percentage of men that women want, then you're not the one staying in orbit, because you have other options. I can remember this young lady that I knew. Very nice, very nice. I'm not even saying this to shit on her. This is just an example. Very nice young lady. And we would get into arguments and that. And she would say, you're going to mess around and talk yourself out of some coochie. Honestly, it was like, well, let me stop, because, I want this. But what I learned from Rolo is that, how that conversation should have went was, I may talk myself out of your coochie, but I ain't talking myself out of coochie, because I got options. So guys, what am I saying in all of this is that, I'm not crazy enough to think that you are not actively dating and dealing with women. I don't want you chasing after them, because I want you to build yourself so that you can have the types of options in life, even with women, that, the man that doesn't build himself won't have. I want you to know some of these things that I didn't know, and at best that'll stop you from chasing so much. And, it'll give you a moment of pause about what it is that you're really trying to do. Being the nice guy that no other women want, that's not going to work for you. Being the guy that is willing to do whatever, pay whatever in hopes of, sleeping with a woman, that's not going to work for you. What's going to work for you is to build yourself, particularly financially, so that you're in that percentage that is being chased, not doing the chasing, right? So listen, look that guy up, man. He's phenomenal. Kevin Samuels, if you haven't heard of him, look at some of his stuff. But Rollo Tomassi, Rollo, and then Tomassi, exactly how it sounds is how it's spelled. This guy has books, and he has a bunch of videos that really helped me out with women in relationships once I found them. So listen, I hope that helps, guys. I am the Over 50 guy. We'll be back with another one soon.